Good morning, everyone. My name is Audrey. I'm stitchywitch42 here on Flosstube and over on Instagram. And today is Tuesday, the 15th of November 2022. Feels like forever since I've done a regular Flosstube update. And I want to say thank you to everybody who watched my last little video. I want to say thank you to everybody who commented on my posts on Instagram, on Facebook. I spent 6 days in the hospital from October 20th through the 26th because I had a ruptured appendix. Yeah, was not a fun time at all. But I wanted to address that a little bit before I get into my stuff because I'm up in the library. See my Hobbit door behind me. I have a folding table next to me and it's covered with stuff, and I just have a lot to yak about today. So, anyway, real quickly. I went to see my doctor on the 20th of October. He sent me in for a CAT scan. And when I was driving home, I got a call from him and he said, "Audrey, I need you to go back and admit yourself into the hospital. Your appendix has ruptured." So I did. And I have to tell you, it was one of the scariest times of my life. I have never felt so sick, hurt so much. And I've gone through way more than my share of experiences with being in the hospital for various reasons. This one scared me. Anyway, I was there for 6 days and they were pumping me full of antibiotics. They did not remove my appendix. Now, there's been some confusion about this, and that's why I wanted to bring this up. They did not remove my appendix because when they did that CAT scan, not only did they see that my appendix had ruptured, they also saw that I had a blood clot in my left lung. And it was because of that blood clot that surgery at that time was not an option, because it would have put me at a higher mortality rate. So, thank you to the doctors for not doing that, because I like being here. So, for 6 days they had me on antibiotics. Sorry, my phone rang. And for 4 of those 6 days, I didn't eat in the hospital. I'm a numbers person. I'm a bookkeeper. I have been for years. So I like playing with numbers. The bed that you lay on in ICU weighs you. So they wrote up on the whiteboard my weight when I first went into the room. I was curious when I left the hospital 6 days later. The first thing I did is I came upstairs, stripped off, and went and weighed myself in the bathroom. And I was 8 pounds heavier than when I went into the hospital. But I didn't eat for 4 days. And I know it's because of all the IV fluids that they were pumping through my body for the antibiotics and everything to fight this infection. But I just thought that was hilarious. I noticed the day before I left the hospital how swollen my legs were, and it's because they didn't have me on my, I normally take a high blood pressure pill and a water pill and potassium, but it was because I wasn't taking that daily water pill that I was swelling. Anyway. I've been home now since the 26th. I've seen both my doctor and the surgeon. They have me on blood thinners because of the blood clots. I will be on blood thinners for 3 months, and at that time they will address whether or not to remove my appendix. So I am feeling so good today. So good today. And I have missed visiting with all of you. So thank you for watching my last video. Thank you for watching any of my videos. But thank you for all the wonderful comments, the supportive comments I got, not only off my videos, off my posts when I posted on Instagram. Thank you so much. It's been a scary adventure, and one I would not wish on anybody else. So I've got a lot to talk about, and where to start? Like I said, I have right here next to me, I have a table that's covered with stuff, and I've got some things on my desk. And let's start right there. This is my Hobbit Library. This was our son's room before he went into the Navy, and we turned it into a library when he left / guest room. Well, I'm a Hobbit person. I have been since I was 7 years old. And I think it's my third video that I actually talk about how this room came about. So if you're interested in that, go back and check video number 3, because this is 159. I've been doing it for a bit. But one of the things that I wanted to do in my time off, I go back to work next week, is I wanted to organize my library. So the one thing that I did, or actually I had my husband and son do, because I'm not supposed to lift anything, is I had them spin my desk around. So instead of sitting right in front of the window and facing into the room, my desk is now against the wall and I can look out the window, and that's why we have all this light coming from this side, because, and it's better that I do this in the morning, because right now the south side of my house, that side of my house, the sun is hitting it and it's really bright outside. It's only 34 degrees outside, people. Oh my gosh. So they spun my desk around for me. Mark added a little extension on the back of it, and I now have some drawer units back there, because with all the paper crafting that I've been doing, I'm finding I don't have enough storage in my room. And this isn't a big room. And neither is the crafting bureau behind the Hobbit door. But it's a work in progress to get things organized and sorted, and I have a pile of stuff that's going to the charity store, and there you go. So, I hadn't been stitching before I went into the hospital. Wasn't feeling good. When I got out of the hospital, I wasn't really stitching. So I started sorting things and organizing things. And one of the first things I did is I took all my projects that I had downstairs, and this is only a couple of them, and I took them off their Q-snaps and I brought them up here, because having that pile of stuff downstairs next to my chair and looking at it was kind of making me feel just a wee bit depressed, because I wasn't stitching on anything, nor had any desire to stitch on anything. So I thought I'd show you what I put away temporarily. The first one was one that I had just started. It is the Scarlett House Sew Witch. If I had my journal here, I could tell you what I'm stitching it on, but I don't. I may write it down below. But this is what I got started on it, which is actually a pretty decent start. Now, the spool of thread that's up here, The pattern shows cross stitch. I did a satin stitch, and there's going to be one in each corner, so I thought that that would be a fun thing to do with that. So that is where I'm at on Sew Witch. Look at me, putting things away. It's a novelty. Okay. The next one is out of the Just Cross Stitch Halloween Special 2021. It is Nightmare Before Coffee. Do you see that? This is being stitched on, I think this is Picture This Plus Eek. And that is where I'm at with this one. I had decided that I wanted to do some coffee themed stitches. And I've got the cup there, I've got a little bit of the steam up above it. I think this is going to be really, really cute, but when I will get back to it, I have no idea. Then there were some new starts. This is why I usually don't take things out of my project bags, because I throw things on the floor. This is from 13 Spooky Smalls by Primrose Cottage Stitches. I actually finished one and started the second one. So, Hocus Pocus is the one that I finished. And then this one is as close to a quilt as I'm ever going to get. But I thought that they would make cute little pin pillows. And there's a couple others in here that I really, really liked. This one right here. And that one right there. I love them all. I could, possibly, excuse me. I could possibly do them all. I don't know. I just don't know. But those were the projects that I put away because I just didn't want to see them downstairs. For, I would say a good 5 or 6 days after I got home from the hospital. While I was feeling better, I was still having issues and didn't want to stitch. And seeing them there kind of made me depressed. So I put them away. What I did leave downstairs was my Alphonse Mucha, because she sits on my stool downstairs. It's pretty much the only place I have to keep her. And I did pick her up, and I did get a page finish, which is not a big thing because it was less than 100 stitches to get a page finish. So here she is. This area down here is where I was stitching, and I finished that in. This area I had already started, and I am now going to be working on that one and working down. And when I finish this section, I'll be halfway done with her. This one is taking me longer to stitch than any of the others that I stitched, and it's all because of you guys. Having to have things to share on my videos means I stitch various other projects and I don't pay attention to her, and I think she's gorgeous. Of course, there's also the fact that I'm past her face, so it kind of gets boring. But that's a completely different issue. Am I flashing you there? I'm sorry. flashing myself. So this is where I am at with my Alphonse Mucha. I think she's gorgeous. I would like to get more work done on her, but you know, there you go. By the way, the creaking, I have an antique Principal's chair, nice oak wooden chair, and it makes all the noise. It does make all the noise. All right, so my Alphonse Mucha is where I started stitching again. And then, the beginning of this month, there was a first Thursday up at Acorns and Threads. And I wanted to go. Hadn't been feeling good. Hadn't seen anybody in ages. I decided to drive up there and visit with people and just see stitching people. And it was something I needed. But it wore me out. I got there probably about 11 and there was, I would say, about a dozen people in the room. I got to meet Kim, who is DaisyJo Designs. Anna, Stitch Roadies, she was there. I got to meet Kim. Sitting next to her was Melissa, who I have met several times. The funny thing is, every time I see Melissa, I have to stop and think, what's her name? Because I'm horrible with names. But I eventually get there. Becca was there with both of her daughters, Sam and Bree. Anna was there. Margaret was there. She is a regular up there all the time. She does a lot of finishing, or she does a lot of stitching for Acorns and Threads, and she does beautiful, beautiful stitching. Ginny was there, and then there were a couple of other ladies who I didn't ask their names because I wasn't up to speed myself. But what I took with me to stitch was a piece that I'm working on for my neighbors. Neighbor. Oh, looky, there's my finger. This is a Sue Hillis design. It's called High Tides and Good Vibes. And I'm stitching this for my neighbors because they have a camper and they like to go glamping all the time. And while she also likes flamingos, I don't want to stitch that part of the pattern. I don't want the words, I don't want the flamingos. So I have adjusted this piece accordingly. And I think it is coming out really, really cute. This is where I'm at. So the top of the camper is 2 shades of white, and I've got one done. I've got the ocean tides over here and over here, so I need to fill in with the sand. I need to fill in the second shade of white, and then there is back stitching, and I can get this finished for my neighbors. I'm keeping it in my Punky Pearls stitchy spot. I took this with me when I went up to the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit, because this is really nice to put down to designate your spot. There's the piece of felt over here with a needle minder underneath it, so you can put your orts on that. It's got a couple of pockets, one short one here, one long one here. I put about 5 or 6 skeins of 310 black in there, and sure enough, someone asked me if anybody had some black so that they could finish up what they were doing, and it was nice to have that there and be able to just offer it up and say, yes, yes I do. I'm keeping the floss for that project in one of my floss away books that I made. And I'm really hoping in the next couple of weeks to start making some more of these and putting them up for sale on Instagram. But you know, the whole not feeling good thing has kind of made me feel like I'm way behind on a lot of things in my life right now. That's okay. I'll get over it. All right. The last thing, okay, that's what I was stitching on up at Acorns and Threads. While I was there, I did meander over into the shop and I picked up a couple of patterns. And Janine was so nice. It's honestly taken me till about 2 or 3 days ago to really feel good after all of this crap going on. But when I was up at Acorns and Threads, just walking across the parking lot wiped me out. And I went into the shop and picked out a couple of things that I wanted to get, and I had a couple of things in my bag to purchase. And when I came back over to the annex, it was just like, I want to go home and take a nap. I was just wiped out. And Janine was so nice. She goes, would you like to hand me your credit card and I'll go run everything for you and bring it back? And I thought, how sweet was that? I mean, she's a business owner and she's going to do what she can to take care of people. But it's nice to have friends who look out for you. And she came back and she told me, you got X amount off because you filled your punch card. And you got X amount off because you had your Acorns bag. Which, if you have an Acorns bag and you go shopping in there, you do get X amount off. And then she goes, and I gave you X amount off more because you're a tough old broad. Thank you, Janine. One of the things that I had in my bag there to purchase was Lindy Stitchy's A Spooky Book. Because all of the things in here are just, you know, there's the goth chicken. I need a goth chicken. I do need a goth chicken. I know I've seen this one in a Just Cross Stitch magazine, but that one is really cute too. And Grave Fellows. Got to meet Lindy Stitches at the retreat. Stephanie Webb, very nice lady, very funny. I do like her work, but I honestly haven't stitched anything. Well, maybe. I will be stitching some of hers. And then another one that I found is an Erica Michaels. I like her work. I have several of her patterns. I've got a lot of the berries. I just never get around to stitching anything. But this one is made up as a cute little bag, and I think I need to have it. Them bones. So you have the pattern in here to do it this way, and then you also have the pattern to do it that way. But this bag is cute. So that was First Thursday. Let me look at my notes. While I was up there, Becca gave me a package that a lady who has been a viewer of mine for a long time, her name is Rose, had sent to Becca to deliver to me if and when she saw me again. And in it was a bunch of wine labels for me to use for my journaling. And I want to say thank you, Rose. I think that is a really cool idea. And they have been sorted into, well, and all the stuff that I've been going through and sorting, I've got things somewhat organized, and they are here in my little box of goodness that is all stuff to journal with. So let's switch over to journaling for a second. I wasn't stitching. I wasn't watching Flosstube. What I was watching was journaling videos. And there are a couple of ladies who I have found, and I like to watch their videos on the journals that they make and sell, because their style is so me. They are April, who is Pink Oddbird on YouTube, and Priscilla, who is Release the Craftin'. I was gone for a moment. Did you notice? Anyway, these two ladies that I like to watch, Priscilla and April, they put together a October daily journaling project. And it included, I think there was a total of 10 to 12 creators, maybe 10 to 13, I don't know. They used the hashtag OCT Day 2022, and they came up with 31 prompts for these creators to use. And every day a different person did a video on how they were interpreting these prompts and creating an October daily journal for themselves. Is there anybody out there who does not realize or know that Halloween is my holiday? And I had never seen anything like this, and I was hooked. I watched every single video, and then there were even a couple of other ladies who, while they weren't part of the creative team, they were doing their own journals following these prompts. And there's two ladies that I want to talk about. The first one, Bella Boo, I will talk more about her. She was one of the creators in this collaboration. But the other one was not. And this woman was mesmerizing. Seriously. If you're not interested in paper crafting, if you're not interested in journaling, you don't have to be. But I can't recommend enough going and watching some of her videos to see her creative process on how she decorated her journal using these prompts, because it was fascinating and inspiring and impressive, and wow. She started with a journal that she made out of paper bags, and by the time she was done with decorating the pages, you couldn't tell they were paper bags anymore. And she made a comment on one of her videos that she wasn't artistic. No, she is very much artistic. Her name is Ginny. Her channel name is Happily Ella After, capital H, capital E, capital A. Everything's going to be linked down below. You don't have to like journaling. You don't have to like paper crafting. Just go watch some of her videos with the OCTDAY 2022 hashtag to watch her process on how she created her pages. It's inspiring. It was so inspiring. My daughter was coming over and doing my IVs for me after I got home. I had to do them for about 10 days. And that would take about an hour of time. The setup, letting the IV do its thing. And I turned on one of her videos just for her to watch, because my daughter is not crafty. But she was impressed by what she saw. So, just go watch one of her videos, please. Check it out. Because seriously, the woman is an artist, and wow. But the other lady I was talking about, Bella Boo, her name is Belle. Not only was she part of the collaboration doing this Oct Day 2022 prompt, she also has other videos, and she had one that she had recently put up. I think there's a total of 7 videos in this playlist. It's on how to make an altered book, and she did an autumnal journal. And I was hooked. So hooked. She showed how she took the book, she showed how she prepped the book, she showed how she decorated the book, and that was the first 4 of the playlist, and then the other 3 was creating things to go inside the book and decorating it, and I was hooked. So I decided to make one. Because my brain, my focus wasn't on stitching. I just wasn't there yet. So I decided that maybe playing with creating an altered book might be the way to go. And I have to tell you, I have had so much fun playing with this. Now, the reason that I wanted to do this is because I joined a Patreon. Linda, who is aka Van Mom on Instagram, has a Patreon, and she does quilting and cross stitch and paper crafting, and Anna did a tour of her little craft room at her house over in Bend, Oregon. I got to meet her when I was up at the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit. And I've never done the type of journaling that she's talking about, but I thought, I can do this. I can join her Patreon, see how it goes. I can try something new. She was talking about buying a plain journal and decorating it and putting in her thoughts and experiences and everything from 2022, and that's what the Patreon is kind of talking about, how to create a journal like that. I decided that I'm going to use this altered book for my journal for 2023. So according to Belle, you could use any kind of book, and I had this book upstairs. It was one that I had bought because I liked the title of it. The title is Our Lady of Darkness. It was supposed to be an ancient Irish story, and I could not get into it, and this book sat on a shelf, probably for the last 2 years. But I was in this cleaning mode of reorganizing the library, and I came across it, and I thought, I'm going to do that. So this is the altered book that I have created out of this book that I just couldn't get into. And basically, if you don't know what an altered book is you take a book, a regular book, and you remove pages from it, and the pages that you leave in it, you decorate and create pockets out of. So, inside, plain white pages like you see inside any book. And then I have the front page, which is decorated. And then I have this. This page inspired me because it reminds me of my mom, and my mom passed away a long time ago. And I loved this image so much. These are digital images that I purchased from Ink and Page. Page and Ink. One of those two, listed below. But I also used it on the front, and I enhanced it up some. I outlined the flowers so they're more vibrant. I stitched around a couple of the flowers. I put some stickles on there, and I added some lace behind it, and then I tacked it down to the front of the journal. And while I liked that, it just looked like I stuck something on the front of the book. The other day I came upstairs, and this is because of watching all the October daily prompts. I went on a spending spree and I bought a bunch of stuff for paper journaling, but I bought some distressed mica sprays. I got 3 new colors to me and used some of the old colors that I had. And I sprayed the cover of this book, giving it an aged, distressed, grungy look. There is purple on there, there's gold on there, there's red on there, there's blue on there, there's black on there, and I just think that it looks so fantastic now. But going back to the inside, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing, you leave the front page, and then you take a couple of pages out. How many you take out is up to you. And you turn a page, and you take several more out, and then you leave 2 to 3 pages together to create your pockets. Turn a page, take several more out, leave 2 or 3 pages to create a pocket. And you do that through the whole book until you get to the back, and then you have the back page again. And these are 2 pages stuck together and decorated. This is decorated all the way through. I love this. I've already started putting some stuff in here, working towards the goal of using it the way Linda is describing how she does her journaling. I have had fun playing with that. And oh my gosh, I went on a spending spree. I bought more Tim Holtz paper and more Tim Holtz sprays, and I bought some Tim Holtz Distress crayons because of Ginny, Happily Ever After, and watching her videos. I had to have them. All this stuff here in the middle is new stuff that I've bought for paper journaling. I've got stacks of paper over there. I've got new drawers on the back of my desk to sort stuff in because I've bought some. I haven't been spending money on cross stitch, but I've been spending money on papers and inks and crayons, and which is why I needed to clean up the library. There you go. All right. So, looking at notes. On the 9th of November, I got to go up and visit with Anna and Cheryl. Cheryl is one half of Stitching with the Sisterlies. Anna is Stitch Roadies, Quilt Roadies, Woolly Mammoth, She of Many Persona. We got to go up and spend the morning in the beehive just stitching and visiting, and I needed that. I think I needed that more than I needed First Thursday because it was just the 3 of us. It was just a great place to unwind, relax, visit, laugh. And I decided that what I was going to take with me was this. This is a boho bag that my friend Lori McCleary, textilist, made and gifted to me several years ago. And if you've watched me for any period of time, let me see what I'm doing here. You know this houses my Halloween village afghan. Oh. The reason I took this was, 1, I haven't worked on it for a while, but 2, because of the stitch count on this. I'm stitching it on 20 count Lugana 4/2. It's really easy to see. So, this is a Stoney Creek pattern. That is what it's going to look like. I know it's harder to see on this one, but I'll try to get in close. That is what the pattern looks like. I am working on page number 6. So the way I did this, I bought this 1.5 yard afghan cut of fabric. It is 5 pages across, 6 pages down, So a total of 30 pages, right? They tell you that you have to leave a 5-inch border all the way around because that's what you're going to use for making the fringe. So here is the top. And I know you've all seen this before. I got all the way across the top. Then I moved down and I worked on page 10 and page 9. And then I came back over to this side and I was having issues because there's these vines swirling down. And when you look at the patterns inside here, and I'm not going to show you a pattern, but each one of them has that overlap on all 4 sides from the previous page or the page above or the page below. And it takes my brain time to interpret where the next stitch is going to go with all of these vines. And it was while I was sitting up there visiting with Anna and Cheryl that I saw a point that I could start off of. So this is what I have been working on, this section right here. And while I was there, I stitched a bunch of the black and the purple borders because those go all the way around the inside and outer and inner edge all the way around. But it was trying to figure out where to connect the vines. Borrow Anna's idea, use my boobs to hold this, was where to connect the vines. But I saw this spot right here where this vine comes in through the border, and I realized I could count off of that, and I started again doing all the little berries down here, and then I was able to figure out where the rest of this swirl went. So this is about 3 days worth of work getting that done. I'm really tickled with where it's at. And this is definitely a winter project because it is an afghan cut. So I curl up in my chair and I put my black fuzzy blanket over me. And then I drape this over the top of that. And I'm nice and toasty warm. Sorry. And I can stitch on that. So it'll be getting a lot of love here because it is a great winter project. So while I was up at Anna's, Cheryl gave me back a bag that I had sent with her because she went to, what's the name of the retreat, Cheryl? Stitch West? Is that it? With Kev and Deb and Pam and Steph. I think. Teresa Kogut was going to be there as the designer, one of the designers. And if you all remember, earlier this year, Becca designed a pattern for us, Mother Cluckers. And I stitched it and changed up the pattern some because Cheryl has chickens. Cheryl decided to name her chickens after Flosstubers, so they are now Floss Chicks. There was an Audrey 1. There's now an Audrey 2. Unless she's stopped laying eggs, in which case she is now broth. I don't know. But there have been other Floss Chicks named after other Flosstubers or designers, and one of them was Teresa Kogut. Cheryl went out to check on her chickens one morning, and Floss Chick Teresa had passed away. And Floss Chick Audrey was standing on Floss Chick Teresa's head. So what I did on my pattern is I reversed a couple of the chickens that Becca had designed here. And I turned one upside down and made it kind of sort of dead. And then I had Floss Chick Audrey here. I sent this with Colleen and Cheryl to the retreat in the hopes that Teresa Kogut would sign, would initial, and she did. She put her initials under the dead Floss Chick. I have a picture of that. Cheryl posted it on I think both Cheryl and Colleen posted it on Instagram of Teresa holding this up after she had put her initials on it. And I was just tickled with that. And she was kind enough to send this back for me. When this retreat happened was right as I went into the hospital with my appendix. And so they were talking about me a lot there, and I thank you. Seriously, everyone who has sent messages, comments. I have a stack of snail mail that has come in from people, and all the comments, and thank you all for thinking of me. The other thing that they brought back for me was, this is a wool piece from Under the Woolen Willow. It is Suffrage, a Woman's Right to Vote. And it has lots of different ways to take this pattern and make different little wool projects. So I am looking forward to doing that sometime in the new year. On this, I'm kicking myself because there's one clucker who hasn't initialed it yet. And a couple of months ago, she was sitting right next to me at a First Thursday, and I forgot to ask her because I had it sitting there with me. So I just need to get Heather Punky Pearls to put her initials on here for me, and then I can figure out how to finish that. It'll probably be a small bag. At least that's what I'm thinking for now. All right. I think that's everything. Except sometimes I'm really bad about doing giveaways. And sometimes I'm not. But I haven't been here really for almost 2 months, kind of, sort of. And I came across some things in my reorganizing this room that had been given to me. I got these when I first transferred to my last store up in Lake Oswego. Not too long after I'd been there, one of the ladies had found these at a thrift shop, and she bought them for me because she knows that I cross-stitch. They're not cross-stitch. These are stamped embroidery pieces, and I haven't done embroidery. I don't know. I'm not saying it's not in the possibilities of me doing it, but these are all Christmas pieces and not my style at all. I had them in a bag to go to the charity shop, and I thought, you know, these are really cute and maybe somebody would want them. So I'm going to offer them up one time only. There's 7 of them. If you're interested in them, you know what to do. Don't say free, don't say giveaway, don't do any of that stuff. Be over the age of 18 so I can have your address. They are full kits, so I'm going to limit it to the United States simply because of mailing. And if nobody claims these, they're going to the charity shop. So this one is, let me see, the kit includes 100% cotton pillow wall hanging panel, 24 by 27 inches with easy to follow instructions. Finish size is 16 by 14. This is Chilly Owl. It has a list of what you need on the back of it. If you are interested in this one, say owl. This one is also a cotton pillow, wall hanging, 24 by 27 inches. This is woodland. And you can see the fabric back there. It's pre-stamped. Okay. This one is also a cotton pillow wall hanging, same size, 24 by 27 inches. This is ornamental tree. So if you're interested in this one, say ornamental tree panel, because there's an ornamental tree stocking. The next two, this one is called Believe. It is an embroidery stocking pattern. So say Believe stocking, because the next one is the Believe panel. Cotton pillow or wall hanging panel. And if nothing else, this fabric could be used for finishing pieces because it's really, really pretty. And then, okay. And then there's a woodland panel stocking. So, like I said, there are 7. Chilly Owl, Believe panel, Believe stocking, ornamental tree panel, ornamental tree stocking, woodland panel, woodland stocking. That's what you need to say if you're interested in any of those. I don't care if one person gets all 7 of them. I would like to pass them on to somebody who's going to get some use out of them because they've been sitting in a plastic bag waiting to go to a charity shop for 6 or 7 years now. They need a home. So if you're interested, you know the rules. Say what I just said, because I don't remember. In the comment box down below. I'm going to try to get back onto a regular schedule of recording videos again. But there's no guarantees because it's already the middle of November and I feel like I've lost a month and a half of time. I am so far behind. Thank you for coming and visiting with me. Thank you if you've left comments on my videos, if you've left comments on my Instagram, if you've sent me snail mail, little gifts. I've been organizing and things have been put away and I don't remember who has done what, when, where, why, or how. Yeah. Until we meet again, my friends, live long and stitch on. Bye-bye.
Oh, okay, now turn it off.